erstwhile assessment of performance is no more the success metric. You may all agree, even if not in HR, we are all employees and party to the whole process, where people do not get fairly assessed. Appreciation, which is very overlooked, how important it is for one to acknowledge, both for the manager and the team member, in the spirit of partnering together. These are two core things, I believe, which has kept me going despite the pressure. So when there are continuous cycles of performance management, at the end of it, it doesn't become a number game. What HR now can do is do that value add which we always wanted to do it, and play a real people partner to our business leaders.
So, welcome to ValueMatrixTV, where we decode the science and poetry of HR with the help of experts who live and breathe it every day. My name is Ajay Singh, and our expert of the day is Sangeeta Shetty, a people professional expert with 2 decades of experience in the IT industry. She holds special expertise in driving growth and building organizational culture. She is currently Vice President of People and Culture at Ascendion. So, Sangeeta, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, Ajay. Thanks for having me here.
It's lovely to have you. So, Sangeeta, you have worked as a trusted advisor to CEOs and senior leadership teams for many years. So, can you share an example where you influenced a major business or cultural decision that significantly impacted organizational growth or employee experience?
Several such instances, but let me touch on something which has been in the recent past 5 years. So, Ajay, when I joined this company, Ascendion, we were a startup company, uh, close to around 150 people in the mix. And the job at that point in time, when we were at the peak of COVID, was to really take it to the next level, as our vision was to be a differentiator in the market, creating IT solutions. While that was happening, complexities we had to manage were, one was COVID, people were, engineering business is all about people at the core. It was a tough moment at that point. However, what worked best is the CEO and myself working in partnership in looking at things that matter to us. What is our belief system? What are the values that we want to bring while we are building this, and not just for it to happen on its own. Today, 5 years down, we are, that particular unit that we started off is 3,500 employees, which has consistently been certified by Great Place to Work 3 times in the row, and also been in the top 50 in health and wellness category. These are just validations to help you know, from a count of 150 to 3,000, there are several such pieces that had to come together. May it be about performance management process, which is now a quarterly cycle and not a year-long process. We have small interventions, or often underlined or you know, overlooked aspects like communication, which is a tool that is available for everybody, but how best you use it in order to communicate, and what is the importance, the intent of having transparency within the team, giving visibility of values to people. All of these come together and helped us be what we are. And that was not possible without the partnership of the business and the people partner. I've been into the industry in the past to large size companies where we dealt with annual cycles of performance management. And being in HR, have not been personally very proud of the process that we followed. If you would be aware of the whole bell curve methodology, where often there is a push for a number, for a leader to bring down the number, and without a choice, in order to align or achieve a certain number to fit into the right bell curve, managers align. In the process, they make scapegoat as HR, and direct it to HR. Um, and at the end of it, you may all agree, even if not in HR, we are all employees and party to the whole process. where people do not get fairly assessed. It's often a relative comparison from one person to another in order to, meet the bell curve or a defined number. The set of leaders came together and we decided on what is that we want our people to look at. Our people would like to look at how are they doing from what they were doing yesterday. How are they progressing in their own individual track rather than compared with somebody else? Yeah, are they mastering the craft? Have they moved the maturity curve? Is what they would like to be seen and assessed also. They wouldn't be able to control about the other team members in the mix, but what they can control is about themselves. To making that possible, we couldn't have stuck to a annual cycle. We had to shift to a cycle which operates on its own, which gives the tool and mechanism for people to help us know what they have done particular quarter and have an input, and manager also to assess them for that quarter itself. So when there are continuous cycles of performance management, at the end of it, it doesn't become a number game. It becomes a point of how well have you done from one quarter to another quarter to the third and to the fourth, and that decides your rating. So we as an organization decided to not have bell curve, but do a continuous cycle which enables leaders to decide for an individual on how they have been doing throughout the year, which by itself helps HR, or HR need not really push and do the, just pushing on the numbers, but do an intelligent discussion of why somebody was a meets expectation and now suddenly pushed to an exceed expectations, or below performing resource made an exceed expectations. Earlier, those conversations were very limited and subjected to the manager who would decide, and there could be baggage, recency, or favoritism. Everything could come. So this process, performance management process, I believe, is the DNA and the culture of the, contributes to the culture of the organization. Once this was set right, I'm aware that in my earlier stints at the end of the year when we would meet, our leaders conversation would be like, people are cribbing, there are appeals, and we would not be able to do anything about it. But today when the conversations in the system are, it's more about, did you do the process right, and did you assess the person at the right time in order to give the rating? This took a while for us to arrive to the process, but we did it in close consultation with the leaders and trying to see what is concerning when they say we do not want bell curve. We tried to look at all those pieces and put together a process which addresses everybody and takes care of the need of the hour of objectively assessing people. This has stayed, and I'm so happy for the 5 years we have been diligently following that. Often it is said that without a bell curve you can't do a comp exercise, you can't do a variable payout, but that's not the case. We were able to decouple things and reward people appropriate to their positioning, and assess people, or rate people based on their performance. So there is transparency, there is clarity, and well known to people, so people trust the process. That also adds to the culture of the organization.
So, speaking of initiatives, having led multiple transformation and change initiatives, what do you believe are the most critical factors that determine whether an organization transformation succeeds or fails?
I believe it's the leadership and the consistency in leadership, and that one vision. As much as it may sound cliche, we talk about one vision, one mission, but I've seen this happening closely. Um, in Ascendion, I would always refer this as a distinguishing factor for Ascendion's growth. One is the leadership, the values, the thought process, believing in people, and want to help people unleash their best. That has been consistently seen right from the chairman to the CEO to the business leaders to the sales leader. The second thing is consistency in our vision. We walk the talk right in the day, whatever 45 days, 60 days, minus my joining of Ascendion, I still remember the commercial officer talking to about what we want to create in the industry, about being the differentiator. And till date, if anybody has to talk to the same commercial officer and ask, what's the vision? Why did you start? those sentences remains intact. So that consistency uh, has stayed, and that has helped us to not deter from our goals. People on the ground, uh, they have their own way of sensing how the leadership is. Not somebody who talks big, gives big speeches in the town hall, and then when on the ground, he's an unknown, he doesn't know. But you would see in Ascendion, that is the spirit of all the leaders. They believe that we don't know it all. We'll kind of evolve together, and we need you. And you come with so much that we can achieve together. Uh, these are these are two core things, I believe, which has kept me going, despite the pressure, the stretched hours at times. But it has kept me going, and I think it holds through for any human being. Those clarity of vision goals and being accessible, and not trying to show that there is a distance, there is a level. All of this makes a lot of difference and make things, any transformation possible, I believe so.
Speaking of core values, you spoke of core values. Well, that ties in perfectly with my next question. So, you mentioned co creating organizational values. So, how do you ensure that company values move beyond presentations and become visible in day to day employee behavior and leadership decisions?
Yeah. So, Ajay, as we were speaking, to contain the culture, the leadership and consistency is very, very important. So, at some point in time, the set of leaders who had put together this, build this company to a certain point, has had nightmares of, will we be able to sustain and contain the culture we have put together? To make that possible, this came as an area for me to look at how do we make this possible. And as a result of that, we had the vision, we had the mission, we exactly knew how our leaders are operating and what's working. We wanted to figure out a way that we enable our people leaders with the same thought process. Having thought of that, we came up with the curriculum, which could be a concept or a thought process, which says evolve. Evolve is, if I'm a manager to Ajay or Ajay is a manager to me, we both can evolve together as the spirit that we operate with. When you start thinking on those lines, what comes to life is, bringing out the best in each of us. Where I, as a manager, could acknowledge what you bring to the table, and that allows you to bring your best version, even if you don't know the answers. um, Appreciation, which is very overlooked, uh, how important it is for one to acknowledge, both for the manager and the team member, in the spirit of partnering together. So with all those pieces together, we came up with this concept of evolve, which believes in the spirit of let's grow together, not that I know it all, you know it all. And while doing so, because it's an engineering company, we can't expect all of them to be good enough or smart enough to bring out their thought processes or emotions in the best form. So we felt the need to equip our engineering leaders with the tools, and the tools are this: move from judgment to curiosity. And when you are deep and we are driven more by our emotions as a manager or a team member, step back and helicopter and look at it, the fly on the wall kind of. So that is the curriculum that I'm talking about, but it exactly meant to contain and stay consistent on our values, which means a people leader, once he embodies these values and thought processes, when he touches the nth employer in the row in the organization, he transmits the same value as I would have experienced from the leaders on the top. So, this is kind of a mantra that I believe once we equip the people leaders, we'll be able to contain that values we once put together, and it doesn't just stay in the presentation form. We're in fact powered by AI thinking, or rather already in play. We've created an agent, which acts as a coach for our people managers, which operates within this construct, which is very specific and close to Ascendion values. Which at any given point, if Sangeeta is not around or the ambassadors are not around, helps them to say, how am I supposed to act in this situation? And it at least nudges you and guides, and we always have the counselor support to further help the people manager if they need that human presence and guidance.
So, you spoke about appreciation as one of the core drivers of your company. So, segueing to employee experience, employee experience is a strong focus for you, has been a strong focus for you. And you've worked quite a lot in this forte. So, how has AI helped you in increasing the happiness quotient or psychological safety of employees? Is it still a human intensive job?
Over the years, like 2 decades, more than 2 decades, 23, 24 years of experience, the way we functioned under the HR banner has evolved. And while personally we have been evolving, right? But the amount of work it requires to do good work has been enough. So we couldn't really bring the best of HR support to the people, to helping them unleash the potential. And in the journey of, such a long period, there has been constant effort to bring automation, to take away some repeated tasks and use the leftover time to be there to people and guide, coach, counsel, or look at interventions where people can best make use of the time and the energy. AI has been magical. For example, even if doing a simple talent review, which is a very strategic attempt to help people leaders see potential within the team members and assess people, help people leaders decide, and help people grow or develop or leverage them. To even do a simple talent review exercise, it used to be humongous work for the talent development team, putting together the slides and making it possible and so on, which is kind of made easy now. The whole concept and the intent of putting together can be agentified, and the same HR who has the expertise of knowing the people and the helping the leaders see the right, have the right perspective and see people from the right competency angle, which requires a lot of communication discussion based on the facts. The facts can be enabled with consolidation of agents and systems talking to another. What HR now can do is do that value add, which we always wanted to do it, and play a real, people partner to our business leaders. That I believe has changed. At the same time, we're not in the pressure to create agents and bring AI as soon as. It's important really to see how AI can be leveraged best in what situation. There could be there could be a lot of repeated tasks which can be just put together or agentified. That's not the success for us. The success is where
Yeah.
some of these things where we would manually put together, if it was a 360 view of an employee of how that individual has been. I cannot imagine bringing that manual. It would take a year long effort for me to bring the data together. But it could be possible now with a good designing of how I bring data together and make it available for people leaders rather than scrambling. So that is where I feel smartness of the HR or the real strategy of the HR would come in play, of thinking where to invest this AI energy best.
So, as someone deeply involved in capability development, what skills or leadership capabilities do you believe will become more critical for employees and managers in an AI enabled workplace?
Hard skills. It is his hard skills. I think agent is everywhere. After a point, you look around LinkedIn, you look around people, everybody's talking agents, either to keep up with the market or just to feel part of the, crowd. Um, as a result of this, I'm sure everybody is experiencing a bit of a fatigue. Let's live, not just agentify. People are able to create agents. Your freshers who don't know anything, they're able to create agents. The key and the beauty is applying that agents to work. We can't just get happy about creating agents. And while all of this is happening, do we appreciate the guy who is just creating agents, or do we appreciate the application the role of the leader there is to really orchestrate and see what fits in and how to coach and guide the person while you still need the expertise of somebody creating that agent. At the same time, that agent immediately can't go and sit. There'll be still some people who may be not able to cope up with the creation of agent. What is it required for the leader is to have patience and pursue with the individual. The erstwhile assessment of performance is no more the success metric. Somebody who has been great performer in the system, I heard somebody saying that in this ecosystem they're plateauing. They're not the high performers. So the beauty of the leader will have to be getting the best of the people from where they stand to what you want and addressing those concerns which we are all going through in different stages. So that's where the leadership role would come and apply those hard skills which we talked about. Acknowledging, listening to people. It may be just about listening and helping them see the right perspective, and people have their answers. So in the agentic world, hard skills and leaders who are able to on the go, um, stay centered, guide people, be them, still bring the human touch while agents will do the job, helping them realize how in the immediate scope they probably could be not doing the same thing that they have been doing, but there is enough for them to contribute because agents make it easier for us to define, evolve, and make a lot of innovation further.
Speaking of AI agents, we know that we have so many generations in the workplace as of now. Have you experienced cultural barrier to accepting AI?
Yes, I'm witnessing diverse group of people. At one end, we just spoke. The freshers are picking up creating agents in no time. The leads may be still held with a lot of wisdom they hold and therefore struggling to do away with it and probably at point not able to create and apply or have that agility to create agents. At the same time, the leaders, the architects who have had a very structured way of executing things and have been used to a model which was like 1 2 3 in a very sequential manner, is not able to apply that sequence now. So they need to really think back and architect or design the systems to support the agentification. So things are changing across levels, across personas, across profiles and roles. Yeah, that is diversity today. And the key is for holding a responsible role as a leader or as a people in culture to acknowledge that fact and make way for each of one to thrive in the system. Your ecosystem has to be more encouraging and encouraging the failures also, acknowledging that this is how you feeling, already preempting and being vulnerable. uh, that is what will reflect a good culture, and saying that this is not easy, we've gone through it, but we'll manage through it, right? So that is an ecosystem. But from individual level, people who have grown and taught in school that you have to be perfect in one area has to really change and shift their thought process from seeing the depth is not what matters, the agility and the thinking, the big picture thinking or the system thinking is what I'm required here. Earlier engineers may be busy coding and that individual was the highest performer. But today, though you know the agent creation for that matter, but if you're not able to convey what was a problem statement and what agent made a difference and how you resolved, that could be seen as an area that one has to pick up. So these are few nuances on the ground we are addressing, and feel that those have to be addressed very objectively.
So, Sangeeta, before you go, one piece of advice you would like to give to the young HR professionals who are at the onset of a long career in HR, especially at this intersection of technology, AI, and all the changes that are happening.
Be agile. Uh, than trying to look at models and trying to study the model and waiting for the right model to come and for you to work on. There's a big need for this function to step up and be there for people while people are going through the whole mental transformation in their roles and the whole ecosystem. So it's no more an administrative effort, it's being there and playing, you know being the biggest contributor in the business, in the people's journey.
Well, very well said, Sangeeta. Well, that brings an end to our wonderful and insightful conversation with Sangeeta Shetty. So, thank you so much for your valuable time, Sangeeta.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
So, viewers and listeners who are passionate about modernizing HR, building better teams, you can head over to ValueMatrix TV for more such conversations. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel on social platforms. Thank you for listening to us today at ValueMatrix TV, where we unravel the world of HR as it develops. Goodbye.